Oh, there's Jean. Good. I'm glad to see Jean has joined us. Right. Well, just was checking my email. There were a couple of login issues this evening, so I was just trying to give everyone a couple more minutes. In the meantime, we'll just do a quick little introduction and welcome to everyone who is here. Let me see who we've got on the call. I just wanted to welcome you. And why don't we just take a moment to unmute while we're waiting for everyone to log in. We've got a couple of our committee members, but we'll just have a couple more minutes here. Did anyone have a chance over the weekend to see the Northern Lights, perhaps? It was sort of a big news event happening. I know that I got out and was able to see some of the fun lights on Friday night and then a little bit on Saturday night as well. We got to see some too. Did anyone else have a chance to go and see the Northern Lights this weekend?
Yeah, a little bit.
Thanks.
I was surprised that I could see them out here, actually, but it was beautiful from what I could see.
Excellent.
Yep.
How about you, Clifton? Were you able to see them where you are? Hey, Clifton's there. He got called away for a second. Jean, how about you? Were you able to see them? I don't hear them. You can all hear me, right? You guys were responding to me, so you can hear me okay? Yep, okay, I see nods. Good, good. How about you, John and Kira? Were you able to see the Northern Lights?
I figured out I have mine muted.
Oh, go ahead, Jean. We can hear you now.
Well, I've got two screens up and I turned it on one, but that was the wrong one. So yeah, we saw the Northern Lights. We chased them for hours, but if you took a picture with your phone, they were so much more vibrant than what you could see with your eye. It was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we noticed that as well, for sure, Jean. How about you, John?
I must confess I couldn't stay up late enough.
It was a chore, for sure.
All you have to do is turn on the computer because there's pictures from all over the world.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yep, yep. And Rick, did you have a chance to see him?
No, I went to bed too early. Then I tried to wake up in the middle of the night and I was too late.
Yeah, yeah. I agree. I was surprised at how in person the colors were not nearly so bright. But I could see sort of the hues. So I sort of could see, oh, that one's going to be more pink or purple. That one's going to be more green. I could see that in the lights. And so on the phone, it was just sort of the colors were really enhanced. But I could kind of see the hues, kind of in person, but it wasn't as bright as you're led to believe by seeing all the pictures before you get the chance to see them.
Right.
And I see Sue is just emailing me here. See if this one works. Trying to get Sue in. She's having a little trouble, and I think it's partly the link is been a little, for some reason, it seems like the power outage today had it messed up my email a little bit. I noticed, so I don't know if that has had something to do with it. Hopefully, Sue is going to get in here in a minute. But we're going to go ahead and get started with our welcome. So welcome, ESA. Oh, and Clifton, I see that you're back. It looked like you popped out and you're back in again. Do you want to try to speak just for a minute to make sure we can hear you?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
I answer your question again about the Northern Lights. We had a good view. I just lost you. I was picking my kids up from the bus and I have a dead spot.
Oh, gotcha. No, we totally understand that. Oh, I'm glad you had a good view. And I see Alba just popped in. And Alba, we were just talking about the Northern Lights over the weekend, sharing if most of us had a chance to see them. Some people slept through them, which is what happened to me the last time we had a good view of them here. Alba, were you and your family able to see the Northern Lights this weekend?
Yeah, we saw them. Hi, how are you guys? Hi, everybody. Yeah, they were really nice.
Excellent. Great. And we thought so too. I was really excited to see them. It's been something I wanted to see and hadn't had the chance to see so much in person. So it was really a great opportunity. Oh, and there's Sue. You made it in. Thanks, Sue. Thanks for emailing me. I don't know if you heard me say, Sue, but we had some power outage here earlier, and it really kind of did a number on my email system. So I'm sorry if that caused some confusion while we're all trying to join the meeting today. But welcome, Sue. Did you have a chance to see the Northern Lights this weekend?
Yes, it was great.
Awesome. That seems to be the consensus for sure. So I'm glad we had that opportunity here. All right, well, we'll go ahead and jump into the meeting. We've got several members of our steering committee on the call, and I think I've gotten you logged in here. And sorry, getting a text message about not being able to get logged in. So hopefully we can get everyone in here. Our purpose, as you all know, is to review and provide feedback on our ESA implementation. You've been doing a wonderful job of working with us, giving us feedback, looking at the handbook, talking about the parent perspective as we get ready to roll out the Education Savings Account program. And as you know, there is some litigation against this. So our first order of business today is for Rick. He's going to give us a quick overview on where we stand, give us some updates on the litigation. There hasn't been too much new news, but he's going to share for a few minutes. So Rick, I'll hand it over to you.
Thanks very much, Christy. So yeah, not a lot has happened, not anywhere near as quickly as I thought it would. As you folks may remember, right from the time the lawsuit was filed, we were anticipating that they would seek an injunction to make us stop the efforts until the court could make final rulings. That didn't happen for quite a while. And when it finally did happen, just within the last couple of weeks, I guess, they agreed to postpone moving forward on that until Sue Vinton, as an intervener, could join the case and file her pleadings. That has now happened, and we were waiting for the judge to, I was actually anticipating that there might be a hearing as early as last week on the injunction, but apparently what's happening now is they were waiting for both the state and Sue Vinton as intervener to file formal written briefs in response to the motion for an injunction. So now it looks like the hearing on the injunction may take place in the last week of May, right after Memorial Day. The judge hasn't actually set the date yet, but that was the date, the week that the parties requested to have the hearing. So again, moving slower than I would anticipate. So we're still moving full speed ahead in the event that we don't get enjoined. And by the time I see your next meeting is on June 10th, we should have an answer by then as to whether we're going to be enjoined or not.
Thanks, Rick, for that update. Does anyone have any questions for Rick on this? Sounds like we anticipate noting more by next month, but for now we are forging ahead.
Just one question. Are the briefs and that they file and stuff, are those public yet, or do they stay with the judge for now?
Well, they are all public if you can put your hands on them. For the parties, the attorneys who are actually boots on the ground, so the AG's office for us, have access electronically to all the pleadings. All the other pleadings can be obtained by going and getting a copy from the court. So they're not private. They're just a little bit hard to access unless you have online access to the pleadings, if that makes sense.
And they were filed in Helena?
Yes,
Okay. Thank you.
sure.
If
All
I-
right.
I'd like to
Oh,
add,
Yep, Clifton, go ahead.
one of the things that I found was kind of disheartening for me when I looked into the suit was that it was filed by the group for disabilities for Montanans, and I actually used their resources before when I was putting together my son's IEPs and doing work with the school. I think that they would have been in support of this for given another option. Like that, to me, it's just baffling that they want to see this not be a thing. That was my 2 cents on the deal.
Clifton, I completely agree with you as well. And I think if this does get removed for whatever reason, I think as parents, we could still come in legislative session and try to bring in a bill that they would also agree upon for our kids.
I would definitely be up to support that if it came to that. I'll stay in contact with you, Alba.
Will do.
All right. Well, if there's no more questions for Rick, thanks for joining us and giving us that update. And we will move on and we'll keep going with our next agenda item. Application updates. I'm going to toss this over to Whitney real quick because she's going to give us an update on the number of applications that have come in since the application window opened May the 1st. Again, just that reminder, it will be closing June the 1st. And so Whitney, go ahead.
Hey, everybody. So, yeah, it's been going really well. We've received so far 25 applications, which is great. And I've been working really closely with all the parents on any questions they have. So, updating them too with letting them know that acceptance letters will go out after the close date. So, after June 1st. But so far, so good. And still hoping to get more.
Thanks, Whitney. Does anyone have any
You're
questions for Whitney about the applications and where we stand with that?
This is Jean. I have one. I just wondered, did they find all the materials that you'd put forward, the FAQs and stuff, helpful, or was it confusing for people? I think the eligibility is probably the most confusing thing.
Yeah, I've had a few questions on that, but when I send them over the FAQs and the parent handbook, they're getting their questions answered. So, yep.
Well, good job.
It's been helpful. Yeah. Yep.
Jean, that's a great question. I think.
Wait,
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Whitney, just a question for you. If parents are missing any documentation in their application, are you also following up with them to make sure that their application is complete?
I have been, yep. And I've been sending the link back to their application so that they can re-upload anything that they're missing. Because I have had a few questions about like proof of address. So I've had to send back the application a few times to get new documents uploaded. But so yeah, I think I've worked with a lot of the parents actually that have submitted applications. So but it's going well.
And Jean, we made one
Thank you.
minor change to, I'm going to go ahead and now reshare my screen again. Oh, hold on one sec. Yeah. All right, sorry everyone. It has been one of those afternoons here with the power outage. But Deanne, Julie just came in. She's going to Teams you real quick, so just be aware of that. So Deanne is going to get Teamed by Julie with a quick question.
Okay, thanks.
And then I would like to share my screen because I wanted to show you, Jean, one update that Rick, our legal counsel, had suggested as far as that eligibility that I think helped when we made this adjustment to the handbook and to our main webpage here. And I think Whitney could speak a little more to this with how those parents are navigating this. But we put in here, qualified student means A, B, or one of these. And we put an or here. So one, the little Romanette, one or, two or, three. And we've noticed that I think that has helped a little bit in kind of analyzing that eligibility and sort of getting that real kind of a little bit more fine-tuned, because that is one of the most confusing pieces, I think, is that eligibility piece. So we've tried to clarify that, and I think that helped a little bit clarifying that language, but I'm sure Whitney still gets a lot of questions about that in the application process.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, one of the main questions that I've got, I don't think a lot of parents realize that their student cannot be enrolled in the current year coming up. So that's
in
been
the upcoming year.
yeah, so I think that's been one of my top questions. So
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's another one. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I think that definitely helped aligning that out there.
Yeah. Any other questions for Whitney on the applications? Okay. All right, so now I'm going to give you all a brief quiz. How many of you, and you can turn your cameras on or raise your hands, how many of you have ever heard of the administrative rules of Montana? So raise your hand if you've heard of the administrative rules of Montana. I see some, yeah. So administrative rules are the rules that agencies put into place. I see lots of, okay, good, hands up, hands up. It seems like you all sort of know what administrative rules are and what they do, what their purpose is for agencies. And as you recall, when we've talked about this bill, when it came through, there was a section that the OPI shall, implement rules, adopt rules to help with the implementation of the ESA program. Those draft rules are pretty much finalized. The superintendent's taken a look at them, and they will be opening for public comment pretty soon once we notice them to the Secretary of State. So as soon as those draft rules are ready for the public, there will be a time period of about a month where they'll be open for public comment. As soon as those draft rules are ready and open, I'm going to share that with you as the steering committee, so you can take a look at those rules. They're pretty simple. They're not, I say simple, but they're not lengthy. And it really is, talking about the formula for calculating the ESA amount, which you can see there's much of that is in the bill already. And a few things like that the bill has asked, said that the OPI will write those rules on. So you'll see these when that opens for public comment. I will be sure to share that with you all via an email, and make sure that we can have you, take a look at them and provide public comment if you want. You share it with stakeholders that you know, community members that you know, just for you to know that public comment period will be coming, and we'll let you know that. So that's on the way, and should be before the next meeting. You should hear some information from me about that and have more specifics. That is the last thing on our agenda today. We're sort of in this moment of we're gathering those applications where, you've done a heavy lift of work to get us to this point and assisting and providing great feedback on all of the elements to get us to this point. Inevitably, we'll have more things to work on as we go forward, but today's meeting was really kind of short because we're sort of in the collection time right now for these applications. Does anyone have any other questions? Our next meeting is scheduled for June 10th at 4 p.m. We anticipate having a little bit more information on a variety of topics at the next meeting. You'll hear from me in the meantime. Does anyone have any questions or anything else they would like us to know or be aware of, or get a question answered for you?
I
Kristen,
have a
we did-
question. I just wanted to know, where can we get the updates for the ESA account? As far as the legal stuff that's happening, will you guys send out emails, or is there a specific place that you recommend for us to stay up to date?
You know, we don't have a specific place for that. So it would be just on our next steering committee meeting, on June the 10th. We'll share the update with you then. If there's anything in the meantime that is, very, up to date that Rick thinks would be important to let you know via email, we'd certainly do so. Otherwise, plan to have an update here through this meeting.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Just the
Alba,
last time we talked about having a school administrator or a school secretary or somebody who's going to be the one, working with your department with these ESA funds transferring from districts. Could we make sure we do that next month, just to talk about, just so we understand the process? Because I know the school secretaries are often or clerk is often the key person.
Yes, and Sue, that's a really great reminder. And one of the things that our finance team is working with our school business officials, the statewide MASBO, it's the Montana Association of School Business Officials. And I know that I've talked with finance, and when they're presenting this summer, they're going to be talking about this. Absolutely. And so that's definitely there. And we will be sure to invite Shelley again to join us for the next meeting. Absolutely. Highlighting that in my notes. Thanks, Sue. Yeah, Clifton.
Can I give permission for you to share my information with Alba, so I'm not putting it on the recorded video for her, so I could share some information with her about the litigation?
Absolutely. So I will, Clifton, I will connect you and Alba about, it was Alba? I will connect you and Alba about that. Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Offline. Got it. Right. Whitney, Deanne, anyone? Am I forgetting John? Is there anything else that we think we should share out here?
I think you covered it from what I can see, so.
I agree.
I see
Could you
John
just
coming
do a
in.
quick reminder of why Disability Rights of Montana is filing the lawsuit? Do you have just some points on there, just to overview of why they filed?
Yeah, the lawsuit is it was on the constitutionality of the bill. And of course, Rick is really the best one to talk about that. So I think it's more on the constitutionality of the bill and the funding sources and things like that is really what it is. I'm not sure that it's against, um, everything. I think there are certain parts that they find unconstitutional, and that's what they brought forward in the bill. Would you like me to see if I could see if Rick, he might have already gone for the day. Like I said, it's been one of those afternoons with our power outage here this afternoon. But yeah, it's a really based on their constitutional things. There are four constitutional pillars, which I could not articulate them, but I know Rick could do a better job at. Yeah.
So I have
no
the
worries.
article.
Thank you. I'll email him.
The article that was in the Daily Montanan talks about that they're concerned about the loss of funds to public schools, especially rural schools. So I think it's based a lot on that funding
formula.
Right, and that the schools are going to lose some money where they already have trouble staying alive.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Anything else, anyone? Well, thanks for your time. I know this is a quick one. Our meetings will not always be so quick, but we'll look forward to seeing you on June the 10th. If there's any updates, Alba, another thing is, have you signed up for our press releases from the OPI once in a while? Or our communications director does try to keep certain things, up to date via press releases. Inevitably for this, if there were big changes, I would be able to share with you, and we'll let you know in June too. But just make sure that you keep up to date on that as well. And that's another avenue of information that comes out from the OPI.
Oh, I will. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. There's if you just search press releases at OPI, there's a little mail listserv that you can join with your email.
All right. Thank you so much.
Sure. Yeah. Okay, well, if there is nothing else, I'm always here for an email. Thank you, everyone. If any one of our committee members reached out, I think I got everyone in, but Kira, one of our members, she was in earlier and she just couldn't seem to rejoin. It was just spinning and spinning. So please let any of our steering committees, if they reach out to you somehow and not me, I think we got everyone in who is having trouble, but thank you all for your patience as we joined this evening. Working through some technology, and we'll look forward to seeing you all next month, and reach out anytime in the meantime. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Christy.
everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.